Hey, everybody. I'm James Manning III, and welcome to my new show. So, I'm a patriot because I believe in the Constitution, and that's where we're going to start and end that debate. I don't care what you call yourself, you are not a patriot if you do not align with the Constitution and what it says in there. So, that's how we're going to start, okay? The Constitution, because it's very important. Now, here's something that I haven't really considered until now. Is that there is a lot of young men out there, and I'm not getting into what gender is or who's a man or who isn't, but if you call yourself a man, if you believe that you are, if that's who you want to be, then look, there are certain principles that you must follow that make a good man. Now, anyone can be a man, a grown baby. Anyone can do this. This is not hard. And I believe that what we have in this country is we have a lot of people who call themselves men, and they're going to come out and say things like, I'm an alpha male. Yeah, I'm a self-proclaimed alpha male. And let me tell you something, alpha males don't talk like that. Because true alpha males have nothing to prove. And you don't need to call yourself an alpha male to be one. And let's be honest here. That is something that a weak person says because they're trying to make up for something. Oh, on the top. I don't know who this dude is. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm talking like that. I heard it somewhere. Guy's calling himself an alpha male, and it's ridiculous. Because alpha males don't talk like that. And let me explain why. All right? So what does it mean to be a man? What is it to truly be a man? The definition of this, I think, has changed slightly, but not that much. And what I kept hearing was this song by Aaron Tippin, and it's, you've got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. You've got to be your own man, not a puppet on a string. Never compromise what's right and uphold your family name. You've got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. Now keep that in mind as we move forward here. Now, being a man means that you're truthful. Okay, you can't go through life lying every day. Lying to who? You're mostly lying to yourself. And lying to yourself is the most dangerous person to lie to. All right, don't lie to yourself. So be truthful. And what does that mean? How you use your words and what you say are important. Don't say things that aren't true and that you can't back up. Because your word is really all you're worth. And if your word's no good, no one will believe you. You're just the boy who cried wolf. I don't need to go over that story. If you haven't heard, reference boy who cries wolf. All right. Look, I'm just upset that a lot of young men, a lot of people are looking to grasp with their masculinity while growing up and going to people like Joe Rogan or Theo Von or any of these big Shane Gillis. These guys, are they tremendous comedians? Absolutely. This is, unparalleled in some of their success in the comedy game, right? But I'm always suspicious of comedians because their job is to write jokes. They're not always considered to be the most moral, the most principled people you can find, which is why I find it interesting that people are looking to comedians to solidify their political beliefs. Because comedians aren't known for being the most upstanding of citizens. They're philosophers, and their philosophy is joke, right? I'm a comedian. I'm just not saying, look at me, I'm the moral hierarchy. No. Listen to me. There are things that you must be in order to be considered a good man. So, freedom of speech? Absolutely. But should you say those things? You must understand who you're affecting when you speak. And, the reference that I use is some people are like, oh, yeah, I'll say jokes about anything. And then they'll say, make jokes about people with disabilities. Now, my principles do not allow me to do those things. And the way that I described it when I was asked was, look, if you want to punch someone in a wheelchair and then run away up the steps because they can't get to you, well, go ahead. But how funny was that? Okay, it's not funny. It's not brilliant. It's not smart. It's actually just sad. it's kind of a terrible kind of view into the type of person that you're seeing now. Are their jokes funny? Possibly, but they're not. That to me is immoral, and it goes against my principles as a man. No, I only wish to make jokes about those who can either enjoy them themselves, or if they would like to clap back, well, I welcome that. I'm a comedian. I'm not afraid. I'm a good man. And if you wish to speak to that, please do. So another principle of being a good man, I believe, is not being greedy. A lot of these guys who we're seeing who've had unprecedented comedy careers, podcasting careers, very popular. I actually have high amounts of respect for all these guys. They've reached levels that I could only dream of at this point. But they are not people you go to for principled answers. You go to them for jokes, which they're really good at. I mean, and, you know, people like Joe Rogan are principled to a certain degree, but I think that a lot of them have made so much money that they're beyond reality. They don't live in the same sort of world that we live in, so looking to them for guidance, whether it be moral or political, is sort of a misnomer. Like, you won't find the guidance you need there. As a comedian, you might study them to understand what it is they're doing, and I have no problem with that. But as regular people, as men, we have to understand that when you have unlimited funds, basically unlimited funds, or you've been living in this world where you're protected from what it means to struggle, you know, maybe they certainly remember the times when they did struggle. I'm not saying that they don't. But I think that when you have those things in your pocket, when your pockets are overflowing, and you can spend $300 or $400 on a meal, you know, who, at what point could you call that principled? You know what I'm saying? That's beyond the recollection of most people. Like, if you put $300 in my hand, I could eat for a week on that, 2 weeks maybe. I mean, I could probably push that even farther depending on how well I wish to do with it and what the state of the economy is. So don't be greedy. And this is something that people don't really put much emphasis on, because in America, we seem to have this idea that the more money you make, the better. And if you got to cut a few people down to make that money, well, go do it. No, we have to reject this idea. That is not manly. This is immoral. And it goes against principle. And that is what makes you a man. Principle, morality. So who do you listen to? And is hating on other people a good moral to have? Okay, these are things you must think of. Because as we're coming up, you know, I kind of am in the weird... I was born in 1988, okay? I came up in a time of video cassette tapes and no internet. And eventually, the internet came around, streaming started, podcasts became a thing, and they've really served to break away from what this idea of being a good man is, because we're being bombarded with all this superficial ideas of what manliness is and what it means to acquire wealth. And, you know, the truth of the matter is that, you know, if you are someone, let's say like some right-wing broadcaster, now I'm just saying that because there's a lot of this floating around right now, all right? But there is an arm of the MAGA party, the Republicans. I mean, they're not the Republicans that I know, but they're MAGA people that are being paid ungodly amounts of money to go against what they believe and say what they're told to say to make a lot of money. Now, you see, I can never join this group. I may never make a lot of money. I certainly am not making anything on YouTube, or no one's paying me to say this, but that's what a man is. And if you're paid to promote a certain idea or talk in a certain way, you are not a man. If those are not truly your principles, if that is not truly what you believe in and subscribe to, you're not a man. You're a puppet. Someone has their hand up your ass and they're telling you what to do, controlling you. This is not a man, okay? You are a sad child who's afraid of losing their grip upon the bag of cash that you've been offered. So you're not a man. And then you might be thinking to yourself, who is this guy to say who's a man and what's not manly and whatnot? Well, let me explain to you something, okay? Now, I've never actively stolen from anyone in my whole life. Now, maybe I've taken a pin or something that I didn't quite consider. You know, oh, this pin is still in my pocket, I walked away with it. Something like that, perhaps. But I've never made that conscious decision to reach my hand out and take something that didn't belong to me. That being said, I'm also someone who has, served the community in a few different capacities as an employee. So I've worked with people with adults with developmental disabilities on a couple of occasions. And I also have been out on the fire line and served on a hand crew as a part of, a private wildland firefighting group. But I still went out and did that. I built foundations for houses. Okay? I put down asphalt. I've done a lot of things. I know how to work with horses. I can pick up a horse's foot and trim it. And I've applied shoes, although I'm not very good at it. But trimming, I'm solid. I can take care of those horses, and that's hard work. All right, I've bucked hay. I've built things. I've helped my friends. I've been on roofs. I've tore them off. And I've helped put them back on. And all of that because I believed that if I just worked hard enough, and that this is the manly sort of jobs that I should be a part of, that it would make me someone that would make me a fortune, or that it would make me better than I was before. And that is the truth. It did make me better than I was before. But what I learned was that, look, you don't have to do these hard, grueling jobs that I did. But I put forth the wherewithal in order to stand up, get my money legally. No, I went and I earned this money, and I wronged no one. And I truly believe that I'm someone who can't be bought. I don't need much, okay? And I don't strive for money. This is something that is just not talked about in our society today. Money will not make you happy, and money is not the rule and guide of your life. I refuse money that I think comes from an amoral place. And that, I believe, is what makes me a true man. Okay? I will never sacrifice my morals to get ahead, to get some money. For what? Money does you no good if people around you can't trust you. And I understand, look, I don't have children, all right? So it would be easy to say, you know what, I'm going to take this money, take care of my children. And that actually is more of a principled view. But to sacrifice your morality in order to gain for yourself or your family, now this actually doesn't do anyone any good. And it will eat your conscience if you have one. I think a lot of people making a lot of money in the podcast world these days, they have thrown their conscience out the window and have no morals to speak of. But they're making millions of dollars. Is that who you want to be? That's not who I want to be. I'd rather be the person who helps, who isn't afraid to pick up a shovel or an axe or a Pulaski or a hoe. I'm not afraid to walk over and pick up that horse's foot and make sure that they're all right. And why? Because I have compassion and empathy for animals. Because they are not much different than I. They experience pain and sadness just as we do. And these people who say empathy is somehow a poor moral or mental attribute, these people are, trust me, either being paid to say that or they hurt inside. And no one seems to care. And this makes them callous. But I'll tell you this right now. I'm James Manning III, and I care about you. And it seems that young women aren't in as poor a place mentally as young men are. Because they're going to these outlets for ideas of manliness which are flawed, which are crafted in some way. But they're not crafted on morality and principle, which that should be your guiding light. And your conscience will be the connection that shows you whether you're doing good or bad. And if you actively walk away from your conscience or you subscribe to hateful narratives, this is darkness. This is corruption. And it certainly isn't the type of light that I wish to be associated with. And I will never be. I will die before I allow money to compromise my morality. And I guess we'll end with how we began. Was that Aaron Tippin, right? You've got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. You've got to be your own man, not a puppet on a string. Never compromise what's right and uphold your family name. You've got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. You guys move forward, all right? Move forward with your heart and keep your mind in a good place. And remember that money does not make a man, but how you acquired that money is. Character, it is said you must build. You have to build it. You don't get that shit for free. All right? And your situations will reveal who you are. And those who wish to test their metal, what is your metal really made out of? Because do you have only enough metal to go as far as you can lay dollars end to end? Or will you persevere even in the face of struggle to do what's right? Do you have a good grasp on what is right? These are questions that are very important. All right. Until next time, I'm James Manning III. And I care about you all. And together, we can be new patriots. We can be people who really care about each other regardless of our monetary status or ethnicity or sexual orientation. We are all Americans, and we should all pay attention to the guiding documents that show us who we are. And this will keep us on a moral path. And this, to me, is what manhood is about. Hey, if you want to talk to me, if you would like to send me an email, go to info@jm3e.com. Like and subscribe, please. If any of you like what I'm saying, or, if you don't like what I'm saying, leave a comment and we'll talk about it. Because I'm not afraid, you guys. I'm not afraid. And I don't believe in spreading hate. Because I don't think that helps anyone. I think that's not what we're about. All right. Have a good night and good luck.